Hi everyone, we are live on YouTube and today we're going to talk about how to go from zero to a successful maternity photographer. And I'm also going to go live on Instagram, so I'll not be answering a lot of the questions throughout the live. We're going to leave all the questions to the end. So I'm actually going to go live on Instagram right now. Okay, so let me do this. Hi everybody, we're starting our live series. So this is a series this week. We're actually going to go live every week at 5 p.m. Eastern time. And I'm going to help you prepare for my luxury maternity photography bootcamp that's going to start next week on Monday. So this week is just going to be like the content that's going to help you kind of like get into the groove and just get the basics out of the way so you can actually focus on the very, very good content from me next week. My name is Ksenia Pro. If you still don't know, I'm a luxury maternity photographer and photography educator, and I specialize in maternity photography, as you may know. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're going to talk about how to go from zero to being a successful maternity photographer, and I'm going to share my story, and we're going to break down some of the steps that I think somebody else should take. You know, if I were to start it all over again, what I would do differently. But if you guys watching me now, give me thumbs up. We both live on Instagram and YouTube. So give me thumbs up so that I know that you hear that you're excited to see me before we dive into the content. Okay, so Alina says, hi from England. Love that. Anybody else joining me here? Let me know where you are joining me from. Awesome. Simply Great Productions. Great to see you here. Yes, love it. Okay, Gisela from Denmark, love it. We're everywhere around the globe. And this is exactly what I want. So Simply Great Productions is from Florida. This is perfect because what I'm going to teach you today, like what I teach you every day, basically, it could be applied no matter where you live. Because when you do maternity photography, great things, people get pregnant all over the world. So you always will have clients. So Sylvia Veranda Photo says Washington. Photos from Sienna says Phoenix, Arizona. Love it. I'm excited. I'm excited too. And I love talking to you in like live setting like this because I can actually get to learn a little bit more about you as well. So let's not waste any time, okay? Because I actually managed to get COVID last week. So today I'm actually kind of like halfway recovering, but I'm excited to be here for you. I might be sipping on my water once in a while, so just give me some grace here. But I'm excited. I don't want to reschedule anything because I have like a lot of things to talk to you about. So how to go from zero to being a successful maternity photographer. Let's start with my story a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, especially if you're just joining me for the first time or you haven't known me for long. My story actually starts back 12 years ago because it took me 12 years to get where I am right now. And let me tell you where I am right now, by the way, because you may not know, right? So now I'm a luxury maternity photographer. I'm based in the Washington, D.C. area. This is where I've lived for the past 10 years. And also, I'm the owner of the maternity. I mean, it's a photography studio. It's not a maternity photography studio, but we do a lot of maternity photography here. So now we have two other photographers. One of them is fully trained by me. She does also maternity photography and other genres of photography. And we also have a newborn photographer because it kind of like just, it goes hand in hand, right? So I've been able to grow my team. I also have a virtual assistant who helps me with bookings. I have a studio manager who helps me with like dealing with customer service and clients. But it didn't happen. It all didn't happen just overnight. And we are a multiple six-figure photography studio at this point. I've been in this space for a year. This April, it's been a year. And it was a big step. It was a big jump for me. But before that, like I'm not a starstruck kind of photographer, you know. I did my diligence, so I worked hard. I came from charging like $300 per session to now my average sale is over $2,000 for a photo shoot. And we do have other photographers in the studio who are they're at a different price point, but they helping us bring money in the door. But the point is, it didn't all happen overnight. However, my journey took me 12 years. But anybody who would start today, and if you do things right, it doesn't have to be that long or that hard what happened to me. So I started doing photography, like as many of you, out of passion, because that's something I really enjoyed and I loved, and I just got curious about it. That happened back 12, 13 years ago when I first started doing digital photography and just taking pictures of friends. Who is here on the same page and did the same thing? Raise your hand and let me know if you're like in the same spot and you also started photography just because you wanted to try it and it was fun. But then it kind of like grew from out of passion to a profession, right? Especially like a big jump for me was when I moved to the US, and I couldn't do anything else for the first 2.5 years. Like I couldn't get a job, I couldn't do anything. So I just started practicing more photography, and I started doing there was a lot of free shoots that I did just to grow my portfolio and just to get known as well. Excuse me. So yes, I had the luxury of time, but at the same time, I was kind of like I was in the box, right? Because I couldn't do anything else. So that was the only outlet. And it's not like I could, go get and like shoot like 12 different photo shoots in the month or like shoot every single day. I didn't know anybody. I didn't speak the language that well. And I didn't drive either. And it's a challenge in the US. If you are from the US, or if you are like an immigrant like me, 100% that you have to drive in order to like do anything in this country. So that was a challenge for me. So I'd have like a photo shoot maybe every other month or so, and I would get really excited about that. But then things started like happening a little bit more faster, so I got into the groove. And long story short, in 2015, this is when I finally officially started my photography business. This is when I got I started my LLC, and I started booking clients. And by that time, I already had the portfolio, so it was easy for me to transition from, not having any clients to all of a sudden I started kind of like getting myself out there, started meeting people a little bit faster. So that happened a little bit faster for me. But before, like, let's think about this moment, because a lot of you may be in this moment, you either don't have any clients at all, you're just starting photography, or you've been doing photography for some time, but you really want to jump into maternity photography. And we're going to talk about it, why I suggest that you look into maternity photography closely if that's something that you think will work for you. There's multiple reasons for that. So we're going to talk about it in a second. But at that kind of like jumping point between kind of like doing photography as a hobby just for fun into turning into a business and a successful business eventually, there's a few things that needed to happen. And we're going to talk mostly about the photography side of things. So before you go and become wildly successful and known maternity photographer, there's a certain things that I want you to have in place already, okay? And they're like more related in terms of the craft, like the photography. So before you go and start doing photography professionally, especially like maternity photography, like finding the specialty and becoming like the luxury maternity photographer, right? What I want you to have done already, I want you to already learn your camera basics, and be able to shoot and produce consistent results, preferably in manual mode in your camera, so you really know how to control the light and the settings in your camera. And you're going to be confident every time you go out to portrait shoot, so you know exactly what you're doing, so you don't have to be like worried about the camera settings. Because if you feel like you still get out to like meet a client and you have to worry about what aperture you're using, like it's not a definition of professional photographer. And you really need to practice a lot and just like get the education before you can jump to that step. Okay, now the second step is to learn the basics about the posing and the editing, so at least you know how things are done, what software you can use, what poses look best for female, for male clients. And just like you need to get a lot of practice with different types of people before you even jump into like specializing into something specific. Okay, then once you learn the camera basic, I want you to start learning the basics of the light, because that's very important. The camera does not control the light, the photographer does. And oftentimes knowing how to set up the light just the right way so it's flattering for your clients, it's more important than knowing the right camera settings. Okay, I repeat it again. Knowing how to use the available light or set up the studio light just the right way sometimes is more important than knowing how to set up your camera. because you can still use the camera. Your camera is going to help you out a little bit, but the lighting has to be just right to make it look good. Okay. And so the journey from like learning the light is usually starting from the natural light or available light, because this is what you see right away. So start doing that. Then you can transition into bringing some reflectors, LED lights, some additional type of lighting into your work, just so you kind of like learn how to control the light independently, not just using just available light or whatever's out there, right? But you can actually create your own light and then transition into flash and studio photography quickly. Because the way I learned photography, I was learning natural light, flash, and the studio light all at the same time. And it helped me actually. I know it may be confusing, so 100% start with like natural available light, because you're still learning kind of like the camera settings. But once you feel confident enough, I want you to jump into learning flash photography and studio lighting right away, because that's what's going to propel you forward, because you will not be depending on the available light anymore. And you can create beautiful glamour picture, things that I teach and I create for my clients every day. Oftentimes we use studio lighting for that. So after that, I want you to practice, 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 right? Or like in between, right? But the good thing, while you're practicing, you're also building your portfolio. So that's why you can like shorten that journey. Because for me, I went from, doing just like portraits of my friends to doing some weddings to doing some outdoor family portraits. Then I did some babies, and I did some product photography, and I did some fashion photography. I was all over the place because I didn't know where I need to be. I thought a photographer should know how to shoot everything, right? And that's partially true, but at the same time, the sooner you find your passion and your specialty, or your niche, what it's called, the sooner you'll be able to kind of focus all of your efforts, and that will give you like a big jump start. At least that's what happened for me. So once you find your niche and your style, and then we're going to talk about luxury maturing photography and why it is a good niche today in a few seconds. Once you find the niche and the style, I want you to start creating consistent results with every single client, with every single shoot, just so your portfolio looks very professionally. And that's what's going to bring more people, more attention to your work. Because once you start producing consistent results, this is like a definition of a brand, of a professional photographer. And this is like the type of photography that people will be expecting you to do. So it'll be easier for you to actually offer it to people and to sell it to people, right? And once you get clear on that niche and that style of your work, and then the messaging that you're sending along with it as well, it's going to be easier to get more attention on social media and to form your audience and to actually attract the right type of clients into your business and to actually start working with dream clients, because this is what I want every one of you to achieve. Okay. So let's talk about what is luxury maternity photography. And again, like this is not a definition out of Google or anything. It's just like what I think it is. So a luxury maternity photography, it's a type of maternity photography that blends it blends photography, fashion, and often fine art. So if you see my work or some of the photographers who are like a similar style, oftentimes you would see that some of the images will resemble the images like out of a fashion magazine, like cover of Vogue or something like that, right? Or it could be like a fashion editorial type of picture. But other pictures resemble more of like kind of like a creative, kind of like an art painting type of effect, right? Because of the way it's styled, it's shot, and edited. So this is exactly what I personally love. And it took me some time to actually get to this point, to admit that this is the things that I love and actually doing the things that I love. So I want you to get to that point a little bit faster, because it took me only 12 years. But it could happen much faster for you. And this is it gives a lot of creative freedom as well, because like so many things that you can do, especially if you're already a creative person, and it's easy for you to like close your eyes and you can visualize the type of picture you want to create. You just need to learn how to create it. So you need to learn the tools, the techniques, and that's the easy part. Trust me. If you already know how to, the creative vision, if you already have it, it's much easier to learn how to actually execute on it, versus train your mind to be more creative, which is possible as well. And I've done both over the years. There's like different things. Again, like the more you do it, the more you are in the creative field, the more you kind of like trigger yourself to get creative and push yourself forward, the more creative you're going to become. And it's going to be easier for you next time. So uh, oftentimes, the luxury maternity photography, again, coming back to the genre and what it is, it oftentimes it involves some kind of like drama. So it's like a dramatic element. It could be the outfit. Like think about some, I don't know, the photo shoots they would post, again, like they would publish on the cover of a magazine. So it could be very simple, the plain background, nothing crazy, right? But the outfit, maybe like the dramatic element of it. Or it could be, like I shoot a lot of with fabric, so the fabric could be flying all over, creating that drama. Or it could be the lighting, so it could be more like a silhouette type of picture, or just some kind of like harsh light that creates beautiful shadows. Or it could be overall styling and just like the colors, the way they combine, so that creates the dramatic effect. So often, sometimes it could be the location, if it's done on location, which is rare. Like a lot of like luxury maternity photography you would see, and what people request now, actually, because it's becoming very popular, is a studio photo shoot. And we're going to talk about it as well again. So oftentimes, the most popular request is, especially for me now, for like studio shoot. So it could be either minimal, kind of like clean type of set, like magazine style thinking, or it's something very kind of like out of this world dramatic. So it's got like a very creative set with different props and just like the way the things come together, the outfit dramatic. So people are craving that kind of thing. They're looking for that kind of thing. And here's why. Because oftentimes, so just maternity photography purely, I feel like 10 years ago, it was not even like that big of a deal compared to now. We get so many requests, and like it's become wildly popular, right? Every woman now, when she becomes pregnant, even before she becomes pregnant, she is already thinking about how she's gonna, what type of pictures she wants to get for a photo shoot, especially the type of client that I'm looking for. I'm not talking about everybody else. We're focusing on the clients that we are serving. So the type of woman that I attract, that my brand attracting, she's already envisioning. A lot of my clients actually follow me for 5-6 years before I book a photo shoot, just because, I mean, they don't get pregnant every year, right? So they get the ideas spinning in their head before they even get pregnant. Once they get pregnant, they oftentimes they reach out to me before they reach week 20 of their pregnancy, so it's like halfway of their pregnancy. So they are so excited. And the reason why is because maternity photo shoots became so popular. And especially if you think about like iconic maternity cover pictures. So even like in the past 5 years, there were so many cover images with pregnant women of like Vogue and other magazines. Think about the photo shoot with Serena Williams, Beyonce, and now Rihanna is pregnant, so she's all over, the fashion magazines, Instagram, everywhere. Instagram helped us a lot as well because it made those pictures even more popular. So all those people, all those images, they influence in the minds of our potential clients, of my potential clients. And that's exactly what people are expecting and they're looking for. So this is like the right time to jump into this. And especially if you love that style and you want to get creative and you've always been dreaming to be like a fashion type of photographer, but you couldn't really get into fashion photography, which is a very kind of like inclusive type of niche to be in. So this is your chance, because this is what I love. And I can't tell you now, because I get to be so creative every day. And at the same time, I create an impact for my clients. And it's just like, honestly, it's like the best niche from what I can tell. So let me get back to my notes, because I have a lot of other things that I wanted to talk to you about. So let's talk about why you would want to specialize in luxury maternity photography. And like I said, it's widely popular. And again, it's becoming more popular because there's more photographers creating beautiful images right now. But at the same time, I feel like it's still a good time because there's only a few like top luxury maternity photographers around the world. I'm not even talking about my area, right? Around the world, there's only a few like a handful of photographers who create similar images to what I'm doing right now. And they're wildly successful. They're wildly popular. They teach, they travel, they have tons of clients. They have very successful businesses because they have what people are looking for. And not everybody can create that type of image, right? So the demand is high and the supply is not even close to being high at this point. That's why I want to teach more photographers to actually get into this niche so we can provide more services for more women who are looking to look beautiful and feel beautiful when they're pregnant. So that's the whole idea. Also, like I said, it's very flexible with the creative side of things because you're not conditioned into doing anything on a certain location. Like if you're shooting a wedding, for example, you only at this place of their wedding venue or some type of location that you decide. You're not time constricted, really. Like you can do like a 3-hour maternity photo shoot if you wanted to. I don't recommend that, but compared to again like wedding or event photography, you only kind of constrained to the time and the space where you at right now. Or when you're doing a family photo shoot, there's like so many people and like little kids oftentimes. I'm not saying that maternity photography does not involve kids. Sometimes my clients come with their families, so it does. But it's still like when you think about luxury maternity photography, the focus is on the woman as a woman, not as a mother yet, but as a glamorous, kind of like fancy type of woman, except she's pregnant, right? Okay, so so sorry, guys. Also, when you're doing maternity photography, the demand is stays the same throughout the year. So women get pregnant in January, February, March, April, and the rest of the year. So you don't have that seasonal aspect compared to like if you only offer, wedding photography or some kind of like event photography, and you're not really dependent on some kind of like global events. So, for example, when the pandemic hit, yes, we got shut down for some time, but luckily for my area, I was able to get outside and start doing photo shoots again. Only after like 4 weeks of being on lockdown. And a lot of my clients, if they could, they waited for me. And actually, throughout the pandemic, because there was like a new baby moon basically throughout the COVID pandemic, I had more maternity photo shoots and more maternity clients than ever before. So it actually kind of helped my business in a way. And again, like no matter what happens, people will still have babies. And because it's so popular right now, this is like a trend right now to actually do a maternity photo shoot. I feel like it will never go out of style, not in the long run, because this is the part where I feel like we as women, we just embrace that it's like a new wave of women empowerment and just embracing your femininity and your new kind of like, and becoming a mother and becoming pregnant is just like, just like the highlight of your womanhood as well, becoming a mother. So I feel like it's creating impact in your client's life as well when you're creating those beautiful images for her. Okay, so also while you are a maternity photographer and you want to be creative and all that, at the same time, what I love about this genre is that you're creating a meaningful experience for your client. So you're capturing that stage of her life that's going to be very important for her, even though it's not, they would not realize it in the moment, right? But then later along the way, looking back at those pictures, they're going to mean so much for them. And also for you, you kind of like working with this, and oftentimes I work with couples and families, right? Because, maternity photo shoots is usually like a couple, it's like a family, you're starting a family. So you are there when they start a family, and it's just such a beautiful thing. And I just love the energy. It's completely different from when you do like an engagement shoot or even a wedding. It's completely different. It's such a bond between the man and the woman oftentimes, but I've done like same-sex couples as well. It's just such a like special moment, and the fact that I'm able to be a part of it, it just means so much, and you just feel it, and that's what I love about it as well. Also, when you're working with maternity clients with pregnant women, there's a sense of urgency, which is great for in terms of business, because there's a certain time frame when they have the perfect shape, right, to do the maternity photo shoots. So they kind of have, they're on the clock, like I either do it now or I never do it. So oftentimes that helps them to make the decision to book with you a little bit faster, because think about like just a regular portrait photo shoot, they can do it this year, next year, and 5 years from now. I mean, yeah, we're getting older, but not that older every year. So you can push it a few months or a few years, no big deal. When you're pregnant, you can't really wait another 3 weeks, because you might have a baby by that time, or you're gonna get too big, and it's not gonna be comfortable. Or you may deliver early too. That's a risk too for a lot of women. So there's a sense of urgency that make them book you faster. And also, I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but having your niche and like specializing in one thing, it doesn't mean that you can't do any other types of photography, right? It's like if you watched my stories yesterday, imagine a restaurant, and they're wildly successful and known for their seafood, for example. And people come there, and like all of the reviews mention the seafood, and their like specialty on the website is the seafood dish. So everybody comes to the restaurant to try their seafood, but they might come back with like somebody who doesn't eat seafood and they want to try steak and pasta and different things. So that's how I see being specialized and like having a niche. It's easier to get known for that one thing, but at the same time, you're welcome to offer some other types of photography, but it's easier to market yourself and kind of get known for the thing you specialize in. All right, so if you guys have any questions, leave them to the end. So I'll leave like 5 to 10 minutes for the questions. If they're not related to today's content, I have a question box that's open on my Instagram account. If you're watching me on YouTube, that's at Ksenia Pro Education. So you can go there and like leave your questions, and I'll just reply on my stories. Today we're going to be focusing on maternity photography. Okay, so let's get moving. So before you become a luxury maternity photographer, what I want you to do, I assume that you're already a photographer. And like I said, you may be just kind of like starting out and getting more confident with your photography skills, or you may already have a photography business and you have some clients, but you're trying to kind of like get to the point where you specialize, you find your niche, so you can actually focus on growing your business a little bit better and kind of like get known in the area for your niche, right? And like I said, there's like so many opportunities that will be open in front of you, and the things will get much easier once you like get rid of like a lot of things in your business. Just like focus on one or two things the most. So I want you to be a confident shooter, like we said. I want you to shoot in manual mode and at least shooting with natural light. This is where you can start. So if you are at this point right now, the rest you can learn pretty fast, okay? And you already can start learning luxury maternity photography, even starting with natural light and just like good camera skills and some kind of like posing skills, and learn as you go and build your photography portfolio, like luxury maternity photography portfolio as you go. But the next learning curve, it will be a big jump for you, okay? So get ready, because you need to get a lot of new skills. And some of them, like some of you may already have them, you just need to fine tune some of them. And I'm happy to help with that. So once you are confident with natural light, I want you to start learning the flash photography and transitioning from being just a natural light shooter to adding flash and studio strobes to your photography and learning how to shoot in the studio setting. And again, studio doesn't mean it has to be something fancy. It could be just like a setup in your living room. It could be set up in your garage, or just like a spare bedroom, or it could be even like a setup on location. And I teach my students how to grab your stuff, go set it up at a client's home, for example, and just like create the similar type of look, because it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you know how to control the light and you have the right equipment to do that, you will be able to do that as well. And if you've been doing other types of photography before that, I want you to specifically, you already have some kind of portfolio, 100%, if you've been doing some kind of portrait photography especially, but I want you to start deliberately building your luxury maternity photography portfolio, because this is very important. I want you to book models or clients or friends, and create the looks and the types of images that you want to recreate for your clients later, because everybody would want to book a photo shoot with you if they find something they love on your Instagram account, on your website, in like any other ways that you present your portfolio. So I want you to think like a luxury maternity photographer when you style, light, pose, shoot, and edit your images. Because even though you have some other pictures on your website and you've been doing photography maybe for 20 years before that, if you want to do that specific genre, this is what I want you to show, and especially start to showing more consistently, more often on your platforms, on your website, on your social media, and so on. Hope that makes sense, because if you want to keep having like a salad in your Instagram, having some family pictures, some wedding, some boudoir, and then maybe a couple maternity pictures, and they're all different styles, it's not good for you. It's not having a niche or having a style, because you're not sending the clear message to your audience, to the people who might want to book with you. Okay, so that's very important. Now, what do you actually need to learn to become luxury maternity photographer? So let's start with the lighting. Lighting, you need to learn how to create consistent results no matter where you are. If you have your studio and you're shooting in a studio, great. If you don't have a studio, how to create similar results when you are on location or when you have to shoot someplace else, right? So this is when the knowing of how to use strobes and flash, and or even just like video lights, like LED lights, that's going to help you a lot as well. And also, I want you to create the specific type of lighting that they use for fashion photo shoots, for like glamour type of photography, and create your type of style, your type of lighting that you recreate. So most of the time, I use the same lighting scheme for most of my clients, especially if it's flattering for them. That's like the most flattering lighting that you can get. And that's why it looks consistent. And that's why it kind of like draws attention, and that creates the style as well. A lot of photographers that they see, they call like, you can almost call them a one trick pony, because oftentimes, especially if you want to like book more clients, just create consistent results, consistent type of picture. I'm not saying don't get creative with it. You can still, there's so many other ways you can get creative with. And yes, you can get creative with lighting as well, but have that staple kind of image that people will be asking for. So that's what I want you to do. So what else do you need to learn? Styling. Styling is very important when it comes to luxury maternity photography. And I know it's easy for us photographers to say, oh, this client didn't bring the outfit. Their outfits, they were not good. So that's why the pictures didn't turn out that well. That dress was awful. But it's your job to talk to them and just tell them, hey, this is how I think what's going to look amazing in the pictures. Let's try this idea or that idea, or at least ask them like what type of things you get attracted to. Send me some pictures and kind of like dissect the picture. What was done in this picture? What are they wearing? Where are they? What color is the background? What is the lighting? And try to recreate those things. And once you do it multiple times, it will be easier for you to actually create something of your own as well. So that's how I started learning. I was just like trying to like replicate some of the images that I really loved. And the same comes to everything, posing and everything. But especially with styling, if you struggle with styling, if you can't really see what goes well and like imagine it, just try to find similar examples and try to do something, if not the same, that's similar with the outfit, colors, the way they did the setup and everything. Okay. And that's going to be better for your clients too. If you talk to them, they will appreciate it. So number 3 is posing. So posing is, so if you don't know how to use the strobes, or even how to style or how to light your images, if you do the posing right and better than most photographers, you'll be in the top space all the time. Just because a lot of clients, they're very anxious about being in front of the camera. So if you can give them great guidance and direct them into poses that are flattering to them, right? That's very important, that are flattering to them. It's not about creating the most cool pose in front of the camera. If they look awkward in that pose, but the other, some kind of like basic pose looks so much better for them, just go with the basic pose. It's not like a popularity contest. It's more about creating beautiful images for your client. And for you to develop that sense of what looks best for your client, It takes time and practice, but you need to start learning poses like yesterday, because this is one of the skills that a lot of photographers lacking, from what I hear, at least, and from what I see. Even like my own shoots, when I go do my own shoots, I feel like I left alone in front of the camera, and I'm the photographer and I kind of know how to pose, but it still feels awkward because they don't give me like the feedback, like, am I doing something right? Like, how does it look on camera? Because I can't see the angle. And the same, imagine the client who has no idea what they are doing in front of the camera, and they're super anxious, and on top of that they're pregnant, so they like 20-30 pounds heavier than they normally are. This is like, anxiety level is like through the roof. So it's our job, especially as luxury maturing photographers, is to, you know, take control over the situation, make sure that you're guiding your client into amazing poses that are flattering for them. But also, when it comes to maturing photography, you also need to know what is safe for your clients, because not every single pose will be okay to do. Okay. So that's another learning curve for you to do. But again, even if you've been doing like portrait photography and you kind of like know how to pose women, transitioning from posing women to posing pregnant women is not that hard. The basics are the same. You just need to learn a few tricks here and there to make pregnant women look their best, because that's what we're looking to create great shapes, great, body language, body lines, and so they look still beautiful and they feel beautiful. Because posing somebody in front of the camera, the result is not just a beautiful picture. The result is also an amazing experience of giving them confidence, giving them the feeling that they got it. Like, look at the picture that we just, like, oftentimes I would show, like, I don't show every single picture because not every single picture is beautiful. I mean, they're beautiful, but not every single picture is like a wow, right? It's a creative process. That's why we take 500 pictures, we call it to like 60. Okay. But when I see the shot that looks amazing straight out of camera, so it needs very little editing, I would absolutely show it to my client, just to give them the confidence, and they will be like, oh my god, this is me. So they can actually, they get the feeling that they actually got it this time around. Okay, so this is the best feeling in the world, because once you see, it's like an award, right? It's like you did something and they give you an award, and like just like a cupcake or something, I don't know. So just like to sweeten the deal, right? And then they, all of a sudden, you proving yourself that you gave them confidence in yourself and in themselves as well, which is far more important, because they will remember how you make them feel. Okay. And I want you to remember that. They will remember how you make them feel. And this is very important. So posing, it's not just about the result, but also about the experience. So number 4, what you need to learn to be a luxury maturing photographer is editing. And that is a big part of what I do. I think editing is more than, I mean, it's like 50% of my work, and it's 50% of my style as well, because it's good enough to know how to create beautiful image straight out of camera, but also a lot of times things that I do, I kind of shoot to edit. And it's not in the sense that I'm going to take an ugly picture and I'm going to make it better in Photoshop. No, even sometimes that happens too. With everybody has that moment, right? But a lot of times we create some kind of like creative type of things. For example, when I'm working with fabric, oftentimes we can't get that straight out of camera in one shot. And sometimes I would actually combine multiple pictures in Photoshop to create the dramatic effect. Nobody will ever know because it looks amazing. So that's why luxury maturing photography, to me, it's a combination of photography, fashion, and art, because the art happens in Photoshop. Because basically, sometimes I would paint over a picture in Photoshop. Sometimes I would combine multiple images together to create the effect that I'm looking for. And that's the part of the creative process. So if you heard about in artist community, they call some things like mixed media. So when I think about that type of photography, it's like mixed media. You do photography and you do some kind of graphic design with it, right? So in editing, again, like for me, I started learning editing right when I started learning photography. So I kind of like started learning everything all at once: natural light, flash, studio, editing. And I really took my time with Photoshop. My first edits looked horrible and I did way too much, but that's okay. That's like a learning process, and you can like learn one step at a time. But again, it doesn't actually take long to learn how to do it. as long as you know what needs to be done and what's the final result that you want to achieve, learning how to do it, it might take a few weeks. Like if you learn the right ways, for example, like I already have some kind of workflow that I'm using, and it literally takes me like less than 10 minutes sometimes to edit one picture, or like sometimes even just a couple of minutes if it's like a clean picture and not much needs to be done, because I already have the workflow and the tools and like the processes in place. It doesn't take me that long, and I can teach you how to edit a picture in, I don't know, in a couple hours. I can show you the things that I do the most often. But then the practice, you can practice for a few weeks doing the same things over and over again, and you will get it. Okay, so that's how the process works. So learning how to apply the tools and techniques, it's literally like a couple hours you can watch and repeat. But then applying it to different types of images, you need that practice to kind of like get it right, so you're getting consistent results with different clients and different images, and then you'll be golden. Honestly, it doesn't take that long. Okay, now, so we talked about lighting, posing, styling, and editing. But also, to become a successful maternity photographer, especially a luxury maternity photographer, that's often not enough. It's not enough to just know how to take beautiful pictures or how to edit them to perfection, right? It's not what's going to bring attention to your work. It might, but sometimes along the way, you will hit like some kind of like roadblocks. That's what happened to me. And that's why one of the things that I always talk about with my students, and I talk about on my Instagram as well, is the mindset. Because everything that you want to achieve is like right there. And the only person that's often stopping you is you. And everything is right there. Okay. So a lot of times you would feel like, who am I to be like a luxury maternity photographer? Who am I to call myself a luxury maternity photographer? I'm not even a luxury. I don't even wear luxury clothes, and I don't drive a luxury car. Why would I call myself a luxury maternity photographer? So all those, oh, like this photographer, oh my God, she's, her Instagram is so popular and she has like 100,000 followers. I only have like 19. Where if you you might even have less followers, but honestly, nobody cares about that stuff. Or you could think about like, oh, this photographer in my area, even if somebody like close to you, she does like similar type of thing, but she's been doing maternity photography for so long and she has so many clients. Who am I to become a maternity photographer in the same area? This is BS, you guys. And I can tell you that if you feel like in your heart that that's what you want to do, and you feel like you love to be creative, you love fashion, you love glamour, you love photography, you love fashion photography, and you love working with, you think you would be amazing working with maternity clients, and especially if you're passionate about like motherhood journey and all of that, this is the place to be. And as long as you see it in here, when you close your eyes and you see yourself doing those type of photo shoots, I'm telling you, you can learn how to do that, and you can do it, and you can be very successful having this business. Because it takes some time and some grit to kind of like learn all the things, and get out and find the clients who would love that style of work. But it's so much easy right now because this is so wildly popular right now. So you just need to start doing that. And the good thing, chances are in your area, unless you're like very close to like a very big city, chances are in your area you don't really have a lot of competition. And even if you are in the close to the big city and you do have a few photographers who do some type of similar thing, they probably already booked up. So, but there's more people coming and more people who want to have similar experiences and want to have beautiful pictures and feel beautiful and amazing and glamorous when they're pregnant. So that's why this genre is just like the genre to be in right now. And I'm not even joking. So in the like having the right mindset is gonna help you become successful, but also don't burn out, because that's what happened to me at some point. I was working nonstop, nights, day and night, and like having a baby and working crazy long hours. It it's not sustainable, so you can't go like that all the time. At the same time, it pushed me to make changes quickly. But I'm here to tell you that I'm going to be your guide and coach so that doesn't happen to you. So you actually do things right so that you actually make sense for your lifestyle. And again, that's part of the mindset that's actually very important in the successful journey. And also, even the question, what is success to you? That's part of the mindset. What is success to you? You can think about it for a second. Is it being popular on social media? Is that the definition of success? What is successful photographer? If you close your eyes, who do you imagine? Is it someone who's popular on Instagram but they have no money in their bank account? Or is it someone who has a lot of money but they work all the time and they don't see their family? Or is it someone who like owns a certain type of studio equipment, or they work with certain type of, or is it like maybe a celebrity photographer? That's a popular word too. I feel like every every other photographer can call themselves a celebrity photographer. That's what I see on social media as well, if you like work with some kind of like remotely celebrity. So what is the definition of success to you? For me, I mean, it could change over time as well, but think about it. It's very important as well, because if you're trying to become a successful photographer, what does it mean to you? And also, so in addition to mindset piece, there's also an impact piece. So we kind of touched on that a little bit. But when you're working with maternity clients, with pregnant women, you're creating an impact not on their life, not just on their lives, but also on the lives of their family. Because you're creating the iconic images for someone who just starting a family, and her life's going to change forever, from going to like just a woman to being a mom. That's a big step, and she wants to celebrate that transition time, and that it doesn't mean that she's not going to be glamorous anymore, but it's just going to be different for her. So I want you to capture that moment first. Second of all, it's not even about the glam, right? It's just that moment in their life of starting the family. So they will be looking at those pictures back like 5, 6, 10, 20, 25 years later, and they will be just, oh. So that's very important too. And a lot of women don't have a chance to actually capture those moments or feel beautiful when they're pregnant. So I want you guys, I want us all to create more beautiful experiences that are empowering for women. Okay. Also, the piece of the impact is not just creating the impact for your clients directly, but also creating impactful images that that the person who, like the viewer, right, whether if they're looking at on Instagram or they're seeing a print in your studio, they want to stop and stare. And that's what I love. I like create. Like, it's not going to be every single image that you create. That's not humanly possible. But even if you create one picture for a photo shoot, that's going to be like really like, wow, that's the goal. Okay. And if like every other photo shoot you would create the picture that would be like, oh my God, mind blowing. That's the goal for me, at least, because that's something that I want to share with on my Instagram, on my platform, on my website. This is something I want to teach other photographers to create. And that's so much fun, because that's the essence of the creative process, creating the images that will stop someone so they can actually look at it and they start kind of like, oh my God, how did they do that? So that's kind of like the goal that I have for my work. Okay. So let's bring it all together. Basically, what we talked about it, and I call it for short my IMPLSE method. So IMPLSE meaning IMPLSE. I stands for impact, M for mindset, P for posing, L for lighting, S for styling, and E for editing. And this is exactly what I teach inside my Luxury Maternity Photography Academy. And if you guys haven't already, I highly recommend for you to go to my link in bio if you're watching me on Instagram. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the description of the video so you can click on the link in the description so you can sign up for my Luxury Maternity Photography Bootcamp that's happening next week, because you're going to get the best pieces of content from me next week right in your inbox. So those videos will be available only for those who register for the event. So very important, if you haven't already, make sure to click the link in my bio or in the description to the YouTube video, so that you can actually sign up and I see you inside the maternity photography bootcamp, because this is where I'm going to share little pieces of information that will help you change the way you do, even if you haven't done maternity photography, or if you're already doing maternity photography, but you kind of like want to take it to the next level. I'm sharing golden videos that's going to help you get it to the next level. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open some time for some questions. Again, if you have questions about maternity photography, any like luxury maternity photography, any type of questions related to, my work, my style, anything like that, welcome. Type them in. I'm going to be watching, looking at the questions on Instagram and on YouTube as well. But if you have any questions that are unrelated to today's episode, right, to today's live, I want you to drop them in the question box that I have open on my Instagram account, which is at Ksenia Pro Education. Okay, but first of all, let me know if it was useful today. And if you guys can share just one insight from today, that would be amazing. If you can share it in the comments. And also, let's do this. We haven't done that. Okay, so how about you're going to take a quick screenshot of me, and we're going to do it for Instagram and for YouTube separately because I have to look into different cameras. Okay, so we can share. If you share and tag me on your Instagram account, I can reply to you and we can become best friends on Instagram. How about that? Okay, so ready for Instagram first. All right, get a screenshot now. And now for YouTube. Okay, perfect. I hope you got it. So tag me at Ksenia Pro Education so I can, we can become friends on Instagram, and I would love to help you if you have any questions. And again, I would open a question box on my stories. So watch for those stories. And like I said, I'm going to go live every day this week at 5 p.m. Eastern time, the same time as we started today, so that we can actually talk about things that are related to luxury maternity photography. I'm going to help you with the basics. So we're going to talk about lighting, camera settings. We're going to talk about posing a little bit, so I can set you up for success. You're actually going to be ready for the information I'm going to be sharing inside my maternity photography bootcamp starting next week. Okay. So any questions, you guys? Don't see any questions. Did you have fun today? Give me a thumbs up at least in the chat if you don't have any questions. Let me know, because I feel like I was pouring my heart and soul into this, and that's really what I'm so passionate about. And I love not only doing maternity photography, but I also love teaching maternity photography, because that's what kind of helped me in my career and in my life. But also it's, I see that it's changing the lives of my students as well, because there are students who are, went from doing all kinds of photography to doing just maternity photography specifically, and they saw the success in that. So they're getting more bookings, they're getting inquiries as well. Thank you. Awesome. Let me take a screenshot too, you guys. Okay, love it. Leo, the border collie, and photos by Sienna, influential photo, Simply Great Productions, photos by Sienna. Okay, again, thank you. If you guys watching me on YouTube, send me some love as well. And again, if you haven't already, take a screenshot of this live and share it on your Instagram. Tag me at Ksenia Pro Photo, and make sure to follow me at Ksenia Pro Education. Excuse me. Tag me at Ksenia Pro Education. So I know that you've been watching this live, and I'm sure to become friends with you on Instagram. And also, I want to see you tomorrow and the day after, and on Thursday and on Friday, because I'll be here every day for you. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to help you. We're going to be talking about some of the foundational things in order for you to become a maternity photographer, but also I'll be answering your questions. And I'm happy to meet you where you are, whether you're just starting photography or you're transitioning to become a professional photographer, or you're actually at the place where you're ready to specialize. So with love by Naja is asking, what were the easiest poses for you to start with as a beginner maternity photographer? So there's the good thing is when you're posing maternity, like a pregnant woman, There's only so many things that you can do that look great on camera. Okay, you can do variations of things, but there's like a staple basic poses that I do all the time, and I start with them all the time because they work for every single client. So if you go to my YouTube channel and search for, well, if you don't follow me on YouTube, it's Ksenia Pro Photography, and search for, I think it's like 5 easy poses for maternity photography or something like that anybody can do. It's one of the most popular videos. So this is where you can find those poses. If you start with those 5, you'll be golden, and you can create variations using just these, okay? But then there's like so many other things that you can do. But again, like I said, there's only so many positions where your maternity client would feel comfortable, look great at the same time. And this is what I teach inside my Luxury Maternity Photography Academy as well. So we do like standing poses, sitting poses, poses on the floor, poses with as a couple, as a family, and things like that. Okay. Page Lipscomb Photo says, will you be showing lighting setups? I will be showing, great question. I actually haven't looked through the content exactly, but I'll be sharing. So this week during the lives, it's more like a basic type of thing. So I'll be teaching about the light, how light works, and I'll be showing some things in the studio. But also, if you watched my previous lives, I was actually showing some lighting setups there as well. There's some videos on my YouTube that you can look through, and there's some lighting setups there as well. I teach more kind of like how to do things inside the academy, 100%. And for the next week's boot camp, I think I'm teaching you how to create one specific look. So yes, I'll be showing the lighting scheme, but it's going to be in relationship to one specific style. Okay, if it makes sense. So kind of like yes, but not, we won't have time to like show everything. Okay, any other questions? All right. So I'm going to give you 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to let you go do your things. Any other things before we go? Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for asking me questions. I love like communicating with you because a lot of times, I don't know if it's because of the time frame that I'm doing those lives, but like very few people are online actually with me. But I love when like more people are here and you guys ask me questions. So this is awesome. All right, so thank you so much. I'm gonna give you a big hug, and we're gonna stop this live, but I'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. So tomorrow, I believe we're talking about the equipment and camera settings for Luxury Maturing Photography Academy. So there will be some basic information. There will be some information specifically that's gonna be applied to my style of work. So what I choose to do with this equipment and those settings specifically for my style. So make sure to join me tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And again, if you haven't signed up yet, sign up for my Maternity Photography Bootcamp that's going to start next week on Monday. Okay? Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.